Hi guys, Marshall here today. Welcome to Tuesday. So earlier I posted that I was going to talk about some of the some of the traits rather that make us look like bait to toxic or narcissistic individuals. Hi Kelly, it's been a while. Um, there are 7 traits that I typically run with when it comes to helping clients understand how am I attracting toxic or narcissistic people. And earlier today, I had a friend post on my wall a video from a fellow coach that also works in this, and she had 5 very good points, and mine were in line with hers. I just add a couple. So the big question is, are you bait for a narcissistic person? So let's run through these 7 traits, these 7 things that attract them and make us appealing to them, and then what we can do to make ourselves not appealing to them. The first one has to do with how we appeal to their sense of importance. And I like to frame it in a way of like, does my existence in their life add to their image of themselves? Does it elevate their sense of importance or their image, their social value? Because there's one thing with narcissistic people is they crave validation and attention, and they like an image. They like to be perceived a certain way because that is where they garner a lot of their value and their power. It's also where they get a lot of their supply from. So if me, in my existence, they think it's going to add to that, they're going to try to get me. Think of it kind of like why people sometimes buy cars. They go out and they buy a car because they want to communicate a certain kind of status, a certain kind of reputation. Well, narcissistic or toxic people tend to do that so that they can fill their sense of void about their value. So they do that with people. They like to have a certain quality or a certain type of person so they look good, in other words. So if we bring value to their image or their social persona, they're gonna come at us. That's not something we can really control in that respect, because it could be anything. It could be our looks, it could be our wealth, our achievements, whatever we think might be whatever they think might be valuable to them, they'll pursue. But these other components, we have a lot of control and we have a lot of say in. So, second one is what I call pliability. How shapeable am I? And that means, do I have porous boundaries? Am I easily influenced? Do I have a poor sense of self, my own feelings, what I want, what I don't want? And this is where they test boundaries. They ask questions and they poke at things. They might criticize, they might gaslight, they might do a backhanded compliment. They might love bomb you to get you, hi Jackie, into compliance or to soften up those boundaries through some sort of love bombing or some grandiose comment about how great you are for them or something. This is where they're testing pliability. So if they can shape you, then they can control you. And that's the goal there. So when we have a very anchored, strong sense of self and boundaries, and we enforce those proactively, clearly, and directly, we turn off the attraction in the narcissist to us. So that's how you combat this. You got to know yourself. You got to be anchored in you. And then you've got to stand up with that. It's not a word I sometimes use is called enforcement, but it's not about violence or like raw. It's more like, don't do that. That isn't me. I don't want to do that. And often narcs or toxic people will continue to press on that because they believe that once you relent, they are able to shape you. The more firm you are with that and the clearer you are with the pattern, the easier it is to detect them. Okay, so we can knock them out that way. So if you're a pliable person, if you struggle with a sense of self, a sense of identity, if you feel empty inside, you kind of shapeshift or mimic other people, reach out to me. We'll get you in the heal system. We'll get that healed and we'll get that nailed down so that you're not pliable. Because right then and there, that'll turn a narc off fast. It's just like, don't want that. Especially if you're clear. I have an example of that. There was one time I was at a concert And this individual, this acquaintance of mine, came up to me and he started inspecting my clothes and looking around it and just feeling everywhere. And he's like, you didn't dress up. Why didn't you dress up? And I put my hand on his shoulder and I looked him square in the eyes and I said, it sounds like that's a problem for you. I hope you work that out. Because that right there ends it. And now they don't even deal with me. It's really nice not to have to deal with that. So that's a way we can enforce our boundaries very quickly, especially if it's a very overt kind of thing. Typically, narcissists are going to do it in small things, little pinpricks here and there, little tests. You got to be conscious to that, because healthy people aren't going to test your boundaries. They're going to ask for things, and then they're going to respect what you respond, what your response is. Okay, so that leads into number 3, how you respond to boundaries and to gaslighting. So when they attempt to attack our perspective on a situation or an experience, they are looking to see how much they can influence your point of view on you. Because if a narc can get you to question yourself, your identity, what you want, what you don't want, then you've moved back into pliability. And then they can control you. And they'll control you by keeping things in chaos. That's their biggest tool, is keep things unlevel. And gaslighting is the easiest way to do that, along with blame shifting and being the victim, creating a lot of drama for you. Now, how you respond to their boundary pushes really matters, because if you escalate and you get animated and emotional, they're winning. But if you're really calm, you're really clear, you're really direct, and you're consistent with that, they lose. Because now they know that they can't penetrate and influence you. So you're not useful to them. They will literally walk away and leave you alone because there's nothing else there. They might try again at future times, so just be mindful of that, okay? So how you respond to your boundaries, how you calmly, clearly, and factually state them matters. And do not wait to do that. Put it up. So if they do something that hurts you, if you're with somebody, like you're dating somebody, for instance, and they hurt you, just like, that hurts. Please stop doing that. And if they're like, oh, you're too sensitive. Why are you so sensitive? Chill out. Then you're being gaslit. And they're seeing what you're going to do with that. And you can say, I don't, that doesn't work for me. I think this is over. Be extremely firm with that. Don't give people that treat you that way those choices, because then you're being pliable. You're being molded to their reaction syndrome, and they're getting control. Okay, so be a stickler on that. Dating is not a game where we give people chances. Dating is a game where we're finding out how people fit us. All right. The second thing they're looking for is your sense of self-awareness. How aware am I of my feelings, my value, my boundaries, my territory, my autonomy? How am I as a person? And they're going to find holes in that. And then they're going to use those holes against you. And they'll use it through false empathy. They'll use it through manipulation or personal attacks. They'll take that information and weaponize it against you at some point. So be mindful that any kind of unresolved emotional trauma or anything, they're gonna clue into that, and they're gonna use that. And if an unhealthy person, guys, unhealthy people do that. Healthy people don't do that. Healthy people are still aware that that's going on. They're like, oh yeah, you've got some sensitivity there. There's some pain there for you. They're going to be fine with that. They're going to be like, okay, I respect that. I see you're hurting there. The unhealthy or toxic person is going to be like, okay, yeah, I can put that in my little quiver and I'm going to pull that out and hit you with it later if I need to get control of you or I need to devalue you. Because remember, narcissists run in I call it the triangle, the narcissistic cycle. They idealize you through love bombing, so you're the best thing since, sliced bread. They devalue you once they get the supply, and then they discard you, and then they'll go right back into idealizing you, so you feel crazy and you're not sure what the hell is going on. So you've got to be self-aware. You got to be aware of your baggage. You got to be aware of the things that pull on you, because the more aware you are, the easier it is for you to assert proper, healthy boundaries and cut off the pliability, the way they can shape you, and that's just going to drive them away. All right. Boundary and history management. A lot of times when we come from codependent or abusive backgrounds, we tend to overshare. We tend to wear it on our sleeves. We tend to be too trusting. And they look for that. They look for the person who's got the heart on the sleeve kind of thing. They look for someone who's ultra trusting and vulnerable, because typically they can get in there and use that, twist on that, so they can get control of you by making you feel crazy or hurt, or even with false empathy, get in there like, yeah, you really went through some real shit. I'm so sorry. I can rescue you. I will help you. And then, oh my God, they're becoming my knight in shining armor. This is amazing. They love me. I'm the best thing they've ever wanted. We're getting all this feedback we've needed from our parents, from healthy sources, from this person, and they're baiting us through that love bombing so that they can shape us. So be mindful about trusting people too much, putting too much on the table too fast, escalating that kind of transparency. They look for that and they'll use it against you. All right. So empathy is another thing they look for. They love empathy because they know typically if you're empathetic, they can hook you on their drama. They can make their story really emotionally appealing and then reel you in. It's like, oh yeah, I had this tragic past and this thing happened to me and that thing happened to me, and they're raking the leaves outside the apartment. And now we're like feeling something. And so they'll get in there and they'll start asking for help. They'll start asking to be rescued. They'll start pulling us in. And then all of a sudden, we're absorbed in their problem rather than standing strong in our boundaries by checking in. We're like, do I even want to deal with this? Is this something I need to deal with? They're a grown-ass adult. Maybe they should be solving their problem. Healthy people solve their problems. They do not let others do that. They'll ask support. Healthy support is, hey, I got your back. I'm your cheerleader. Let's kick some ass. And healthy support is, please fix this for me. I can't do it for me. Narcs like to play helpless and powerful. It's a very confusing dynamic, but that's what they do. All right. So be mindful of these traits. Be mindful of these kind of behaviors. Sometimes it takes a pattern of time to see it, but right up front, a lot of times we can see some of these things going on immediately. Last but not least, trust your gut. Listen to how this person feels to you. Tune in to what is there. Is this comfortable? Is this familiar? Especially if we come from abusive backgrounds, familiarity is a red flag. Because like, oh yeah, there's something off here. This is too familiar. It feels like home, or feels like mom and dad. Problem. But ultimately, we have to ask ourselves one question. And that question is, how do they fit me? And then we run with the answers. We're like, well, I don't. Or I don't really like it. Or this isn't exciting for me. I'm like, okay, I'm curious. Let's see what happens. But do not allow yourself to just go into it with this blind trust. Let people earn your trust. Let people prove themselves by the patterns of their behaviors. Okay? Promises are shit. They don't matter. It's the pattern of the behavior that matters most. That's where you'll find the truth about them. Okay, guys, thank you for joining. I appreciate the comments. Nice to see you, Jackie. You guys have a great evening. Tomorrow, I may do it. I've got a client at this time. Usually Wednesdays haven't been working out well. So likely I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. And if you have questions, let me know. If you want help with this, you find yourself locked in a narcissistic relationship, reach out. If you want to heal from that impact from it, reach out. I've got solutions for you that work. Okay. Thank you, guys. You have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.